Yo.
What up, though?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat.
Yeah.
With Tony B. For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community. Street Beat. Street Beat. With Tony.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Street Beat. It's me, Tony B, and the beat of the city is local food. Excited to be able to talk to you today about local food. What that means is way bigger than you're thinking. That whatever you're thinking it is probably more than that. Hey, I want to remind you that this Saturday, we will be at the Renton Stadium for the United Way Doug Baldwin Barbecue, Community Barbecue. This annual event is something that's really something pretty special. So we're looking forward to doing that again this year. Then the very next day, we'll be at the Othello International Festival as well, broadcasting live. There'll be performances, a lot going on. This is our summer of festivals, so we're really excited. Oh, I forgot. After we leave on the 12th, the Doug Baldwin, we're going to go over to the Rainier Arts Center and celebrate with South Seattle Emerald. It's their 9th anniversary, so they're having a party over there. So we're going to be all over the place this weekend. Right now, I'd like to welcome Sheryl Weiser from Tilth Alliance, and Sheryl, Director of Special Projects. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Great to have you here. So first thing I want to do is let's talk about Tilth Alliance. Tilth Alliance, what is it? What do you do? Share some information with us.
All right, so Tilth Alliance is a nonprofit organization based in Seattle. And so we are an organization that promotes and supports all of the ways that we can connect local farms, local gardeners, eaters, around the state, in King County and Seattle, with healthy, organic, sustainable food. And so we do food education, we do environmental education, we help manage Rainier Beach urban farms and wetlands. We have all kinds of programs for consumers, and we do a program for farmers around Washington State.
Eat Local Month, King County.
Yeah, it's here, it's happening, it's right now.
Let's talk about this a little bit. We just a couple of months ago did a week-long event on environmental justice, and we talked with some of the farmers in the community. And you forget, or some folks don't realize, that we grow a lot of food here. That's right. In King County, and there's more to the whole eat local thing. But I want to start with that. Eat local, King County. Eat local first. What does that mean? What is that? Are we supporting our farmers? Let's talk a little.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to just give a little bit of history first. So there is actually a statewide platform, eatlocalfirst.org, that Tilth Alliance is a part of. We helped found that with a number of nonprofit organizations around the state in 2020. And what we all did is when COVID hit in 2020, we had a lot of people that were looking for food, but we also had a lot of farmers around the state that almost overnight lost their businesses and other businesses, right? So restaurants, local makers. So literally their opportunity to connect with consumers and wholesale markets kind of shriveled up. So we created an online platform where in every county of the state, there's 39 counties, that we had listings from different organizations, and folks created free listings that you could find local restaurants. We have farmers, all the farmers markets in Washington State, all of the different ways that you can connect with local food, also local resources, community gardens, things like that. So fast forward a little bit, it's 2023. And so one of the things that we wanted to do, we got a grant from the King Conservation District to help make folks in King County more aware of this resource because it's pretty cool. We wanted to help more farmers, more local businesses know about it. And so there's already a couple of Eat Local Month celebrations around the state. So we decided to do one this August because it's Chomp, and also a couple other events that are happening in August. Is a great month for all kinds of local food. So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to, it's kind of like a month-long community awareness PSA information campaign.
Farms, ranches, farmers markets, grocers, chefs, restaurants, food trucks, folks who grow and raise and prepare and create local food throughout the county. This is a big deal.
It is a big deal because actually what's really astonishing, Tony, is that the way that food shows up in our food, local food. And so it is, we grow over 100 different crops here in King County. So just King County has the 4th largest population of farmers in the state. We have 41 farmers markets this week.
Wait, King County?
Yeah, this is National Farmers Market Week.
Has the 4th largest?
That's right, 4th largest population of farmers in King County, in Washington State.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was more of a rural thing, but
no, King County goes urban, rural, and what they call peri-urban, which is kind of the sort of the fringes of suburbia that touch rural. So we have a lot of farmers here. We
hear about Eastern Washington when we hear about, at least I do.
Yeah.
So that's maybe I'm just the only one, but interesting. Continue.
Well, now you know that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of community-centered farms right here in Seattle, like Black Star Farmers and the Black Farmers Collective. They are not selling to consumers, but they are creating food pathways for community. That's very important. You have farming.
Creating food pathways.
Right. So
for communities. What can you expand on?
Well, I think what I mean by that is that they are creating opportunities to connect community that with food access. And so I think that's really important. When we talk about local food, we have to think about all of the ways that people connect with it. Whether they go to a farm stand, a U-Pick, a farmer's market, a grocery store, they go to a community garden, they work with a nonprofit local organization farm like the Black Farmers Collective. They're able to go, they order a CSA. There's a lot of different ways to connect with local food.
My guest again is Sheryl Weiser, Tilth Alliance, and we're talking about eat local food. Why is that important?
It's important for a lot of different reasons. When we make a direct connection with our food, when we know where it comes from, we impact our lives and the lives of others around us in community in every single way. So if, for example, it's better for the economy, it's better for the environment because we keep farmland in production. When I say it's better for the economy, when you go to a farmer's market and you buy something from a farmer, you are putting money in their hands. You're also there, or you buy a CSA, which is community supported agriculture. You're literally buying a share of the harvest. We're keeping those dollars circulating in the local economy. That's really important. There's more variety. When you go to the grocery store, you might see one kind of blueberry, but if you go to a local U-Pick in King County or Washington State, you're going to see maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 different kinds of blueberries. So you kind of think of it as healthy farms. So they're healthy from an environmental and an economic standpoint, healthy food, nutritious, healthy communities, so that we are supporting one another economically, better for climate change, better for our overall health.
You listen to The Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B. Farmers Market Week.
That's great. It's a blast.
August, because this is split into 4 different.
Right.
So we are in the midst of Farmers Market Week.
Right.
Tell me a little about what's going on.
Okay, so for us, for our Eat Local Month King County celebration, we decided to have 4 different areas of focus. And we wanted to start off with Farmers Market Week to coincide with National Farmers Market Week. So this is a way that we are getting information out through our website, which has a ton of resources about how to shop a farmer's market, why farmers markets matter, all the different ways you can connect with different farmers markets in King County, and to really give folks a sense of awareness and appreciation about the import of farmers markets. If you imagine that if you woke up tomorrow and all those farmers markets were gone, that would have a huge impact on so many things. Over 25% of the farmers at farmers markets in King County are from King County. So, we have farmers markets in every quadrant of King County: north, south, east, and Seattle. Seattle, I think we have, 10, 12. There's a lot.
We've got our Columbia City.
That's right. Columbia City rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And so we were at Ballard this weekend. We were at Shoreline. Tomorrow we're going to be at Wallingford. And Saturday we're going to be at the Des Moines Farmers Market.
Okay. I meant to ask you this earlier, the Eat Local First Collaborative, which is a coalition of organizations. Can you talk about the groups that are involved in Eat Local First?
It's a great collaboration. So it's Tilth Alliance, which is a statewide organization, Sustainable Connections in Whatcom County. So they kind of handle Northwest Washington. They actually launched the Eat Local First brand in 2011, and they launched the first iteration of the website in 2017. They're the ones that helped bring the different statewide groups together. So it's Pierce County Fresh, Seattle Good Business Network, WSU Food Systems, WSU Regional Small Farms Team on Kitsap, Olympic.
It's just for WSU, that Washington State University.
Washington State University. Okay. So that covers all 39 counties of Washington. So it's really great to have them involved. WSU Regional Small Farms Team out on the Olympic Peninsula, and the Local Food Trust, which is another organization on the Olympic Peninsula. And we've been working really, really hard this year to really bring in more participation from regional groups from around the state. And so we have over 2,100 listings on the platform, and listings are free. So if you right now are a local business and you are listening and you source from Washington farms, you can go to eatlocalfirst.org/register and you can create a free listing.
August is Eat Local Month. King County, again, joining me, Sheryl Wise. We just talked about Farmers Market Week and farmers markets. Locally Made Week, August 13th through the 19th. Locally Made Week. What does that mean? What does that represent?
That is a big list. You would be amazed at how much that includes. So it's like all your breweries, your kombucha, wine, cheese, honey, all pickles, pasta, bread, everything that you could think of in that area. And there's a local maker. He makes kombucha. It's Culture Shock Brew. And I found out this weekend, this is so cool. He makes a locally made crab apple, and he also does, it's Greenwood cider. They make a crab apple and they make a pear apple cider. Well, they get that fruit from City Fruit. City Fruit's a nonprofit. They glean fruit from our trees so it doesn't go to waste.
Wow.
That is such a cool example of giving back to community. So it's really a way of highlighting this incredibly vibrant, diverse, happening scene of local makers. Some people call them food artisans, but they are really focused on creating food that represent their culture. There are different kinds of food, and it's a very vibrant scene. I personally, I've been doing this work for a long time. I am so thrilled to see these young makers who are just kicking it. They're doing a great job. And it's kind of a whole cottage industry that is showing up. It's beautiful.
That brings a question to me. I talked about food trucks and all of the different restaurants and chefs and grocers. This has to be an elaborate distribution.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to kind of watch this unfold pre-COVID and post-COVID, and so I think that for all of us during COVID, there was a lot of time for reflection, right? And so as the world has opened up, we have just seen, I think, this growth in Seattle of more pathways for people to connect with local food. So you not only have farmers markets, you have pop-ups, you have all kinds of festivals. You have the Columbia City night market that happens here the third Thursday of every month. And, Doc Wilson's doing a great job of bringing in all kinds of local makers. So I think you see grocery stores that are doing a great job of bringing in more local makers. You got a lot of like breweries, like places that sell growlers. People are really into a beverage culture here. So we have just found more and more ways that we want to be able to connect with what is real in our life and the way that these local makers tell their story, because it's very much from their hearts.
Again, you're listening to Street Beat. This is Eat Local Month every August.
No, just this month.
Just this month.
Yeah, we don't know about future August. We were very lucky to get this grant from the Conservation District.
Okay.
We got funding from PCC Community Market, Harbor Food Service, who's a wholesale distributor, the Seattle Farmers Market Association, Seattle Good Business Network, 21 Acres, After 95 Creative is they did all our video work for us. So any sponsors out there that are interested in Eat Local Month next year, get in touch with me, and we'll do some more work together, you and me too.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of put the cart before the horse, just because this is such a good idea.
Thank you.
It raises awareness of so many different functions in our community. We've done shows here on food deserts and the Black Farmers Collective and again, urban workers. And so this just seems like something that should be in place all the time. I know I jumped the gun.
That's okay.
Congratulations for doing it this year.
Thank you.
But what amazing. What got you interested in this whole
the local I've been doing it a long time. I actually started in doing faith-based work years ago. I was working for Earth Ministry. That is a faith-based or ministry that came out of the Episcopal Church in the early 90s and was based on environmental and social justice. And I was their first employee. And so there has been a lot of work that's been done in
that connection again with environmental justice,
social justice. And they really did some profoundly deep work in community, really here in Seattle and around the country and Washington State, kind of being one of the first to really do this work of the responsibility and the desire of faith-based communities to be more aware of where their food came from and the importance of that as it relates to environment and social justice. Fast forward, I started doing work for a nonprofit called Cascade Harvest Coalition, and I ran the Puget Sound Fresh program that King County started in 1998. I did that for about 10 years, and that was kind of a forerunner of some of the Eat Local First work. And then I joined Tilth Alliance in 2016. And then I went to another organization. Then I came back in 2020, and I was working on a grant project. And then COVID happened, and everything changed. And so we all started working on this project. And one of the cool things about eatlocalfirst.org, the website, is actually if you are a business trying to find local food, there is a wholesale finder on there. So if you are looking to connect with local producers, you can go on that wholesale finder and you can look for local food. So that's a really cool thing too.
Just this August right now is Eat Local Month. We talked about August 6th through 12th being Farmers Market Week. Then we talked about Locally Made Week. August 20th through the 26th, Farm Week. Tell me about Farm Week.
Well, where would we be without our farmers, right? It is a hard job. I don't think most people know, and I'm just going to float this out there, that farmers have the highest rate of suicide of any profession.
Whoa.
And so I've been working with farmers for a really long time. And
I think we take our farmers for
we
granted.
absolutely do. They are the most adaptable, flexible people you will ever want to meet, because they have to deal with everything. You think about what a farmer has to deal with: weather, climate change, pests, whatever is going. They could be growing something, and then, the next morning there is, some kind of invasive species or something that's happening. They're dealing with changes in the market. They have to deal with all the regulations. They work really, really, really hard to grow food, to raise livestock, to do what they do, and they are bearing the brunt of all the expenses. So right now for farmers, their challenges are access to land, access to capital, particularly for young farmers, and so also climate change and labor, housing. So part of it is farmers, all of these different weeks are about, yay, we love you, we celebrate this, but it's also a way for us to help make folks aware of these are the challenges that are happening in our food system. And so what are the actions that we can take? So for our local farmers here in King County, there are all kinds of ways that we can connect with them. So whether we're shopping a farmer's market, again, a CSA, you go to a farm stand, maybe you buy their product in a local grocery store. I think one of the best things that you can do this month is talk to a farmer. Ask them how to cook something at a farmer's market. Trust me, you will become a better cook. Visit a farm stand, go to an on-farm event. We have a whole list of Eat Local First, Eat Local Month events on the website. And, I think thank them for their work.
What is the industry like after COVID for farmers? For one, is it something that is generational for family-wise? Are you getting youth interested in farming and the importance? Again, if we don't have farms, that grocery store you're going to doesn't have food.
Yeah.
So how is that working now? I would say pre-COVID, post-COVID, or has it changed? But just is there an influx of youth into farming? It's not something we hear about a lot as an industry.
There is, and there has been for a long time. And so, there's a saying in our work, no farms, no food. There are a lot of young people that go into farming, and there also are generational farms. Like, for example, Jubilee Farm over in Carnation is a second or third generation farm where younger members of the family are involved. There's a program here in Washington State called Washington Farmland Trust that has a program that works on succession planning. So helping those farms that might be thinking of those farmers that are aging out, helping new farmers get on the land. We're actually seeing people that have been working in tech that are getting into farming. And so new farmers need a lot of help. That's something that Tilth Alliance does and other organizations to work with those younger farmers. So I think you are seeing this continued pull that people have to the land and their interest in sustainable and organic and regenerative farming, that the importance that it plays in climate change. But it's also the other side of the coin are the challenges of, again, access to capital, access to land. I think that there's been a lot that has been happening. And one of the things that COVID fostered, for lack of a better word, we saw tremendous kind of pulling together of community, statewide, regional, local, hyper-local, grassroots. A lot of these old kind of hierarchies that existed before around maybe different organizations, you're seeing a younger generation come in, a new mindset, different mindset, that we are all in this together. And if we don't work on this now and we don't make change, we're going to have bigger problems ahead. So I do see that younger people are coming in, and I also see an influx of more BIPOC farmers, growers, makers, all of that. And that is that is monumental. And that is a shift that has to continue.
You say that, you mentioned that, Sheryl, and I was really impressed. We had the Black Farmers Collective in here.
Hannah and Ray.
Yeah. And, this little piece of property they have over by the freeway, and the number of youth that I saw working there. Again, I was surprised. Maybe it's just me, but I was very happy to see that, and that they had this little, you talk about land, this little piece of property, but boy, were they taking advantage of it.
That's right. And this is something, if you think about 30 years ago, the University District Farmers Market here in Seattle launched. 30 years ago, and I know when I was growing up, the word farmers market wasn't in the lexicon, right? That wasn't part of what we heard. So fast forward 30 years, we have a couple of changes which have filtered down to young people now. One, WSU, Washington State University, was the first university in the country to offer a degree in sustainable agriculture. So now you have at least a generation, maybe more, of young people that come through that program and other programs across the country, learning about sustainable agriculture, getting degrees in government affairs, public health, and then, marrying these degrees around sustainable agriculture. So we have a more educated population of young people, and also filtering out into different organizations with a passion to do this work. And then we have a whole farm to school movement that's happened with gardens in public schools. That's not just here in Seattle and King County, that's around the country. And there's curriculum.
Gardens in public schools.
That's right.
Introducing this.
Absolutely. So Tilth Alliance actually had a grant from the National Science Foundation. They developed a couple years ago a curriculum for farm to school curriculum in our schools.
That's something that we all need to know.
Absolutely. So little kids come to the farmer's market now, they know exactly where they are. They know they're at a farmer's market. It's part of their lives. And I think the cool thing is that it's filtering into our communities, and all we can do is keep working to make sure deeper.
That's really good to hear, Sheryl. One of the things that happens with urban living is that access to land, and people living in, units where you don't have that opportunity. So to hear that there's now a movement,
right? Yeah,
in kindergarten to expose folks, because I wasn't going to say, but I have had folks tell me that things come from a can that are grown in the ground, and there is this belief that they come from a can in the store. I don't want to get all into that too much, but you know what I'm talking about.
What you mean.
That exposure, that is awesome. Again, August is Eat Local Month. King County. Join me is Sheryl Weiser, Director of Special Projects at Tilth Alliance. We're talking about Eat Local. Eat Local first. Eat Local, August 6th through 12th, which is this week, is Farmers Market Week. We've got our Columbia City Market over here, but there are a number of them. All throughout King County. 41. Locally Made Week, which was interesting to hear about that and what that constitutes and what's all involved in that. We talked about Farm Week, and again, just I call it a sense of urgency of understanding this critical industry that supports our ability to have healthy food.
Real food.
Restaurant Week.
Yeah, let's give it up for the chefs.
Restaurant Week. That's probably where a lot of people go, okay,
So,
this is my wheelhouse.
This is your wheelhouse, because who doesn't love to eat? We all love to eat. We love to gather. And, most people are familiar with the term farm to table, which has gotten a lot of spin and marketing hype.
Now, let's say that farm to table. What does that mean?
Farm to table is a way of saying the farm is literally coming to our table, right? So, sometimes restaurants can be described as a farm to table restaurant, where they focus on they focus on sourcing local foods.
Okay.
So right here in Columbia City, up the street is a restaurant called Off Alley La Medusa. That farm,
Our Valley was recognized nationally.
yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
La Medusa, that is, she has a farm in Carnation, Goose and Gander. So that's a lot of her produce and stuff is coming from her farm in Carnation and probably some other farms. I want to kind of do a shout out for the Snoqualmie Valley, which is where Carnation, Duval, Falls City are at, because that is a part of King County that does a lot to, we get a lot of food from the Snoqualmie Valley. We also have a lot of farms down in Enumclaw and in South King County that provide us with a lot of food. So Restaurant Week encompasses restaurants, could be a local bakery, it could be a Coffee Clutch bakery in Lake City. They make these awesome pretzels with flour that comes from Washington State. It can be, a pop-up shop, caterers. So, chefs, restaurants, it's tough. They've really struggled through the pandemic to make ends meet, all those things. So we kind of wanted to give a shout out to a lot of those restaurants like Anthony's, Home Fort. They do a lot of local sourcing that work hard to work with local farmers and producers. And so it's just another way of kind of saying, this is kind of what's at stake for these folks. There's ways for you to connect with them. You don't have to eat out in a restaurant every night of the week. If you go once a month and decide, I'm going to choose a restaurant that is supporting local farms, that's a great way to go, because none of us can afford to eat out every night.
You gave a shout out to a few of the restaurants, and I learned on this program as well. And so some of you said Duval. What again are these areas where farms are supplying our restaurants?
Yeah.
And what?
So it's East King County.
East King County.
78% of our population lives in Seattle.
Yes.
So we cannot grow enough food here to feed ourselves. Mm-hmm. So this is why urban sprawl really impacts communities these farm more agricultural communities, rural communities like Duval, Carnation, Falls City, also down in Enumclaw, and other parts of the county where there are farms. It's really important to make sure that we keep agricultural land in production. King County has 42,000 acres in agricultural production, which I think is 4 times the size of Manhattan. But when you consider how much we've lost, I'm going to throw a number at you. Okay. In 1950, we had 1.6 million acres of farmland in Puget Sound. So Puget Sound are the different counties that touch Puget Sound, the body of water, like King, Snohomish, Pierce. We have probably today around 450,000 acres of land left. That's a big loss. So every time we pave over a farmland or a farm goes under, that is our future of food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are we taking care of our farmland? One of the things that we talked about during environmental justice was pesticides, and other things. Are we taking care of our farmland? Are we vested in ensuring that we continually have the ability to grow good crops?
I think so. I mean, I may be not the right person to ask that question of, but I do know that Washington State has a lot of pretty strict standards around what it means to be certified organically grown. And also there's a lot of farmers out there that don't certify, but they grow in sustainable ways. So for example, you can do something called integrated pest management, that you use that instead of pesticides to deal with, like maybe you'll use ladybugs. Ladybugs are a great way to control invasive pests. Farmers are stewards of our land. They do it in ways that create good habitat for salmon. They do it in a way that they are able to raise their livestock, that they are not eating feed that is laced with pesticides or antibiotics. So I can't speak for every farmer in King County, but I do think that we have a sizable agricultural community that is heavily invested. And we also have consumers who are aware now they want to eat healthy food. They want to know about how their food is grown. They care about that. And so I think that we're actually, we're a lot further ahead than where we were maybe back in 1975 or 80 or wherever it is, I think we're doing better.
Now, folks may be watching right now going, well, wait a minute. I want to make sure I'm eating local.
Okay.
Is there something, how do you know if you're doing that? And I'm not trying to put anybody out of business saying where you get your food from or anything like that.
We don't want to sort of,
but how do you know? Yeah. How can you determine whether you're eating local?
That's a great question. I love it. All right. So I'm going to start with step one, because remember you said earlier about not everybody can grow their own food. You can start with a pot of your favorite herb. Okay. And you can actually, you can buy a local plant start or local seeds, and you can grow your own. So there's actually the King County Seed Library. There's a place you can get seeds from. Every year, Tilth Alliance has an annual plant sale at Rainier Beach Urban Farms and Wetlands. And then we have one at the Good Shepherd Center. You can go to different places, farmers markets or farm stands, and get like a locally grown plant start. So that's just kind of a shout out for don't feel like growing your own food is not eating local.
Okay.
That's serious. And we have all kinds of resources for that on our website. You can buy from you can get a CSA share, so you can get a share of the local harvest from a local farmer, a farmer's market. When you go into different stores, depending on where people shop, even like Fred Meyer, PCC, QFC, all the grocery stores, a lot of times they will say, this is where this came from, this farm. Okay. And everybody gets to decide what's local for them. Some people are purists. They go, I won't eat food from outside 100 miles. Okay. Some people say, I'm cool with Washington State. Some people, it's the Pacific Northwest. We don't, for our purposes of eatlocalfirst.org, we focus on Washington State. And so we have a really cool local pickle maker, Electric Habitat. And she sources from a farm over in a couple farms in Eastern Washington. But she's right here, and she's in Othello. That's where she makes her pickles. She has a little kitchen. Yeah. And so I think the best way is talk to people. You talk to your grocery store, you talk to your farmer, you talk to your farmer's market, and and then you and I will talk about resources before we end up today.
Okay. August is Eat Local Month. King County, the Tilth Alliance, has launched a campaign celebrating the local food community. This week, you can get started by Farmers Market Week, which you can do anytime. But Locally Made Week is August 13th to the 19th. Farm Week, 20th to the 26th. And Restaurant Week. Yeah,
that's your favorite, I can tell. Part of Locally Made Week, this is a cool event. It's called Taste of Seattle Made. That is Sunday, August 13th. And that's like a really cool thing. I think it's down in Pioneer Square. And you can find a link on our events. And so people can go check out all different kinds of local makers. So that's really sweet. And then Chomp is a big free festival out at Marymore Park. That's August 19th. That is a great one to bring the kids to. Yeah.
All right. I want to give you the opportunity for final words here. If there's something that you want to talk about that we've missed, that I haven't asked you, been firing questions at you, just whatever you would like to say to our audience. Right.
Hello, audience. I would love, first of all, for all of you to check out eatlocalfirst.org/King-County. That has all of these different resources plus an awesome Enter to Win. And that's going to go through September 20th. And we have all kinds of really great prizes, including 2 $100 gift certificates from the Neighborhood Farmers Market Alliance, who one of their farmers markets is here in Columbia City. And so we're pretty excited about that Enter to Win, and we're adding new prizes every day. And also we have resources on there for where to find local food in King County. We also have resources on how to shop a farmer's market, how to hack a U-Pick, food access, right? So what's happening for people where they are struggling to find local food and to afford it? So we put together resources there. And we also, we have a whole section on events. And we just want to hear from you too. We have an email on there that you can get in touch with us. We also have a Facebook page, Eat Local First, King County. So yeah, check us out. Send us your questions. We loved being here today. I'm so grateful for what you're doing in community and the way that you care about what we're doing. It's really important. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We made this happen.
Yeah, we did. We were persistent. We were farmers.
Well, thank you. Thank you for what
Oh,
you do. Thank
thank
you
you.
for bringing light to this issue,
Oh, thank you.
and giving us the opportunity to discuss this here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Yeah, August is Eat Local Month. I know I got ahead of it a little bit. It's just this month, but we're going to try and make this happen
All right.
every month so that it becomes part of what we think about, supporting our local farm community,
Right
supporting
on.
our local farmers every August. Just do that, you.
Yeah, Eat Local First every day. And we have a website for you with all kinds of resources.
What's the website?
eatlocalfirst.org.
Eatlocalfirst.org. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Remember that. Eatlocalfirst.org. Sheryl, again, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for listening to this edition of Street Beat. Spread the word. Heard? It's me, Tony B, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.